guys, so today for reading, for our vocabulary, we're going to do something, again, we've done this before, but we're going to do it again. We haven't done it in a little while, and I think we really need more practice on this. So probably for the rest of the year, every new chapter, the first day, you will have kind of an added independent practice. And so what you're going to do is I'm going to write the list of vocabulary words on the board. And then what you're going to do is instead of me giving you the definitions, you're going to go to the glossary in your textbook. Remember a glossary, we learned all about glossaries. We learned that they are kind of like dictionaries that are at the end of a textbook or a reference book that only give you the definitions of words that you would find in that textbook or reference book. So you are going to use the glossary to define today's words. Make sure you do that. If you just ignore this assignment and don't do it, then you're not going to have anything to study for your quiz or anything like that. You won't know what these are. So make sure you're doing that in your English notebook. So you're going to open up your English notebook, start a new page. We are on, go ahead, open up your textbook right now to page 410. The chapter we're going to do is called Man's Best Friend. So in your vocabulary notebook, make sure you're in the reading section. At the top of the first clean page, write the chapter title, Man's Best Friend, and then you can write today's date. Let's go ahead and look at these dogs on page 410, and let's do the talk about it. These dogs are taking a bus ride. Where do you think they're going? I don't know where they're going. Maybe they're going to daycare. Maybe they're going on a little field trip. I know there's a doggy daycare in town that one of my friends takes her dog to, and one time some of the dogs went on a field trip to Lowe's. So maybe they're going on a field trip to Lowe's. I don't know. Maybe they're going to a dog park. Maybe they're going to a swimming pool. I don't know. So now go ahead and turn the page, and today's story is Puppy Trouble. The vocabulary, if you can't quite see it well on the board or you missed something or something, the vocabulary is listed on that bookmark. So let's talk really quick. We haven't done this in a while, so let's have a little refresher about how to use the glossary. The first page of words in your glossary is on page 790. So go ahead right now, put a bookmark or something on page 412. Probably not your hand because you're going to be on the glossary for a while. So put a bookmark or something on page 412 and then turn to page 790. This is the glossary. It's the first page of words. So as you're looking for words, you are going to be looking in this glossary. All the words are in alphabetical order. So say you were looking for the word neglected, well, you would turn to the page that starts the ends, and then use your alphabetical order skills, your alphabetizing skills, to find the word neglected. All of these words are in this glossary. You will find every single one of these words in your glossary. That is the whole point of the glossary. Every vocabulary word is in the glossary. There is no word. So if you say, I can't find this word, that doesn't mean you get to not write it because it's in there. Every single one of these words are in this glossary. That is the point of a glossary, to have all vocabulary words from a textbook. So if you were looking up the word neglected, you would turn to the page where the ends start and then use your alphabetizing skills to find it. So you know the next letter is E, so you would look for N-E. Then once you find N-E, you're going to look for N-E-G, and so on until you find the word. This is not as big as a dictionary, so it will not be as hard as using a dictionary. But I'm just going to tell you, let's just talk really quick about what these words show. So, say we were looking at the word accessories. Here we have accessories. These dots right here are between each syllable. So as you say this word, accessories, it has 4 syllables. So these dots have broken the word up into each of its syllables. Accessories. Right here, we have a pronunciation key. This tells you how to say it. Now, most of us don't really know exactly what these different symbols and everything mean, but it is a pronunciation key. You do not have to write in your notebook where the syllables are. I just want you to write the regular word. You do not have to write the pronunciation key. After the pronunciation key, we have the part of speech. You do need to write the part of speech. It also tells you if it's a noun, it tells you if it's singular or plural. I think if it's singular, it just doesn't have, it just says noun. I can't remember though. It tells you the form that the part of speech is in, like here we see plural noun. If it's a verb, I think it will say what tense it is. And then it has the definition after that. So accessories means extra parts or add-ons that are useful but not essential. You must write the word without the syllables, the part of speech, and the definition. Afterward, it tells you the word in context. We bought several accessories for our new car. You do not have to write the word in context. I want you to read that so that you can get an idea, but you do not have to write it. So as you are looking up these words, you are only going to write the word without the syllables. Then you can do a colon or a dash. I like colons. Then the part of speech. And then I like to do a semicolon. And then the definition. If you have any questions about that, please ask me, but I'll repeat it again. The word without the syllables, a colon, the part of speech with the form. So you have to have, if it's a plural noun, you have to have plural noun. Then a semicolon, then the definition. You do not have to write the syllable markers. You don't have to write the pronunciation key, and you do not have to write the word in context. Please read those, though, so that you have an idea of what the word means before you look. Okay, so now what you can do is you can move your bookmark from page 412 to page 790. And now let's write, I'm gonna write the words on the board and so that you are ready to define them. You can also see them underneath vocabulary. My suggestion, and this the spellers know this, do not try to look them up in alphabetical order. Do not pre-write all of the words and then start looking them up in alphabetical order because you're probably going to end up needing more room. This is not a big dictionary, so it will not take you much time to go back and forth. So start with number 1, which is the word neglected. If you cannot see these or something, or it's hard to read, they are, of course, in the vocabulary notebook. You're going to look from, you're going to start on the right, on the left, where it says neglected, and then go down, and then go to the second column. So number 1 is neglected. Number 2 is appreciated. Number 3 is risks. Number 4, I'm going to move this out of the way, is bluffing. Number 5 is misunderstood. Number 6 is desperate. Oops. Number 7, I'm going to put it over here so it's easier to read, is endured. And number 8 is obedience. Oops, I spelled that wrong. I do that a lot, where I put that A in ence instead of E. Okay, so number 1 is neglected, number 2 is appreciated, number 3 is risks, number 4 is bluffing, number 5 is misunderstood, number 6 is desperate, number 7 is endured, number 8 is obedience. Please put those in order in your notebook and look them up in order. It will make it much easier for you, and that is the order that they come in the text. So pause this video right now. Go ahead and find all of the definitions for these words, and then play it, and we'll read the story together. Do not just skip the definitions. Do not do that. That will not be good for you, for your learning, for your learning stamina and independence. Do not skip doing the definitions. Even though I'm not looking at them, that does not mean that they are not needed. You need to write these definitions. You need to practice using a glossary, and you need to make sure that you are doing the work that I'm asking you to do. So go ahead, pause this video, and do that right now. Okay, so by now you should have finished finding the definitions for all of our vocabulary words, and so as we come across them in our story, you should have no questions about them because you wrote all the definitions and you read all of the words in context. Okay, so next, make sure that you're on page 412. We are about to read this story, Puppy Trouble. In your packet, we do have some guided practice, so open past the math anchor charts, and you should be looking at the sheet that looks like this. We are going to do a conclusions chart over the story Puppy Trouble. So make sure that you have that out on your desk or wherever you're working, because we are going to fill it out together as we read this story. So now let's go ahead and look at page 412, and let's quickly read about prefixes and that bookmark under word parts. It says, prefixes, we have talked about this. We've mostly talked about suffixes, but we've also talked a little about prefixes, but we're just going to have a little bit of a review. Prefixes are added to the beginning of words and change their meanings. Miss, or M-I-S, is the same as badly or wrongly. So misunderstood is the same as wrongly understood, because they added that word, that prefix M-I-S to the beginning of the word understood. So it means wrongly understood. Okay, Puppy Trouble by Liam Engel. We got back from the grocery store and found the house a mess. I had neglected to close the bathroom door again, and our St. Bernard Bernie had left chewed toilet paper all over the house. Well, that's my first text clue. That leads me to a conclusion that the author isn't necessarily going to tell us. That's why we're doing this conclusion chart, because we are using text clues to draw a conclusion about something that has already happened or something that will happen that the author isn't necessarily telling us will happen. So that first text clue is the bathroom door was left open again. That word again is the biggest clue. That word again tells us this has happened before. So the author of this story isn't necessarily going to tell us, I left the bathroom door open last week, or yesterday, or a month ago. But we can tell by that word again that it is something that's happened before. Let's get back to reading. Bernie was happily jumping up and running in circles. He had no idea that what he had done while we were away was not appreciated. So there's our second clue that we're going to talk about today. We could come up with we could draw a lot of conclusions from this story, but there's a few I want to point out. So that sentence, he had no idea that what he had done while we were away was not appreciated, says that Bernie doesn't know that what he has done is wrong. That's what that text clue is telling us. We're just putting it in different words. But that's exactly what it's telling. Not appreciated means it's wrong. So Bernie doesn't realize that what he's done is wrong. He doesn't know that he's misbehaved. Which leads us to draw the conclusion that Bernie hasn't been disciplined. Think about if you have a pet or on TV or something like that, when a dog does something wrong, a lot of times you'll see that they look very guilty. Maybe you've watched videos on YouTube. I know there's a really funny video on YouTube about a dog who has gotten into the cat treats. I can't remember the name to tell you, but it's really funny. He's gotten into the cat treats, and you can tell that the owner can tell right away that he did it because of how guilty he's acting. So the fact that he's not acting guilty and he's jumping around happily trying to play tells us that he's never been disciplined before. He hasn't been taught that doing that is wrong. Because if he had been taught that he was wrong, it would be like the dog that ate the cat treats, where he'd just be very guilty and he wouldn't want to look. And you may notice that with your dog. You may be able to tell, or your cat if you have one. You may be able to tell as soon as you get home that maybe your dog or cat has not done something they were supposed to just by the way they're acting. So Bernie's actions show that he doesn't know that it's wrong, which means that he has probably not been disciplined. Let's keep reading. Bernie had already chewed Mom's favorite handbag and my new pair of shoes. Mom was also concerned that Bernie jumped up on people when I took him out for walks. She didn't want to take risks with the little kids on the block, and I couldn't blame her. So that whole paragraph is just kind of telling us the same thing as this. We've seen that he's done things over and over again, because it says had already chewed Mom's favorite handbag and my favorite pair of shoes. So we see again, these things have happened before. And the fact that he jumps all over people whenever they walk shows us again, he probably has not been disciplined. Mom said that if Bernie didn't start behaving, we couldn't keep him. And I knew Mom wasn't bluffing. I could tell she wasn't kidding. Her message was clear, so there was no way I could be misunderstood, and now Bernie was in trouble again. I was desperate. If I didn't think of something really fast, I was going to lose my dog. Then I had a wonderful idea. It meant I would have to give up watching some of my favorite TV shows to spend more time with Bernie. Now that gives us another hint, and that's another clue as to what's going to happen next, or what may happen. So, our next clue is Lynn says she will have to spend more time with Bernie. So all she said is that she's going to spend more time with him. But based on everything we've read so far, we can come to the conclusion that Lynn is going to start training Bernie. So even though she hasn't said, I'm going to train Bernie, the fact that he's been misbehaving, he doesn't know that what he's doing is wrong, and he's doing it over and over and over again, and then the fact that she says she's going to have to give up watching her favorite shows to spend more time with Bernie, leads us to the conclusion that she's probably going to start training Bernie. In the end, though, if I could keep him, it was worth a try. Just then, Mom finished putting the groceries away. She came into the living room and saw the mess. So we still don't see where it says she's going to train him, but what we've read so far, and especially this sentence here, leads us to believe that she's going to figure out how to train him. I've had it with this puppy, Mom said in a tired voice. I'm just about out of patience, Lynn. I know, Mom, I said. You've endured Bernie's chewing and messes for 3 months now, but I've never had a pet before. If I'm not training him the right way, then it's not Bernie's fault. Can we try taking him to obedience school, I asked? And that's what we did. So the last clue we're going to talk about is that Lynn thinks she may not be training Bernie the right way. And we see that when she says, if I'm not training him the right way, then it's not Bernie's fault. So what that leads us to believe, or the conclusion that we can draw from that, is that she has maybe actually been trying to discipline him, but there are right and wrong ways to train a pet. Okay, and that's the end of the story. We're not actually going to fill in the last blank because this is actually meant for the next story, which is longer. But, like I said this like a few months ago, or even earlier this year, that I was going to start making copies because we're doing the same skill. We're drawing conclusions for this whole lesson, or this whole chapter. So, luckily it worked that I was able to make this copy and we can use it for both stories. You have another copy for the next story. But, so what we did, let's look at this at the bottom where it says draw conclusions. This is what we did today. Authors don't always tell Authors don't always tell everything that happens. Readers have to use what they already know and what the author does tell to draw conclusions. As you draw conclusions, ask yourself questions such as, are there clues that support my conclusion? So, we've drawn 4 conclusions and we've shown the clues that led us to that. So the clues the author gave us, along with what we already know, led us to these conclusions. And that's what we're going to be working on in this chapter. So that is all for the story today. Now what you have, please do not turn this into me. It is for you, so tear it out, keep it with your stuff. Remember, guided practice is not graded. So what you can do next, or you can wait a little while because this is, you do have some homework, is after the conclusions chart, you have vocabulary homework. Again, if you did not do those definitions, this vocabulary homework is probably going to be pretty hard for you. So at the top, numbers 1 through 6, you are going to just fill in the blank with the correct word. Numbers 7 and 8, you're going to write 2 sentences, each using one of the vocabulary words. So number 7, you write a sentence with one of the vocabulary words, and then number 8, you write a sentence with a different vocabulary word. This is just like when we were doing the sentences with Phantom Tollbooth. Make sure that your sentences are detailed enough that they show that you understand what the word means. You can't just say, I was neglected, because that could mean anything. It could mean that you were hungry. It could mean that you were tired. It could mean that you were happy. Whatever. You have to add detail so that it is clear that you know what the word means. Now, on the back, you make sure you read this box, make sure you read the directions to yourself, but you are going to read a short little passage, and then you are going to answer questions where you will have to draw conclusions. So you'll use kind of what we did today to answer these questions. Okay, so that's it for reading today. If you have any questions, please reach out to me between 1 and 5 today, and I will help you out.